The lower the time frame, the more requirement for you to make decisions and move and adjust. Okay. If you are not a fast thinker, if you're not equipped to turn on a dime, identify a change and a shift in the characteristics of the market activity right now, lower time frames are going to feel fast. They're going to feel like they're moving fast, too fast, and they're not moving any faster. They're not going to move any faster. And one of the greatest exercises you should do is have a daily chart, an hourly chart, a 15-minute time frame, a 5-minute, and a 1-minute, and watch them build individual candlesticks and how they move back and forth. And you'll see they're not moving any faster. What you're doing is you're being tricked by the perception that you must make a decision. Okay, that was the only thing I disagreed with what I saw of this presentation. And I'm not trying to knock him or slap him down. I'm just saying that there's this movement in the industry right now where everybody's trying to now calibrate everybody's expectations about you've been lied to about smart money concepts. You've been lied to about this time frame being the best. You've been lied to about this market being the best trading opportunity. You've been lied to about, what institutional order flow really is. Everything's you've been lied to. And then when you watch these things, it's like I didn't feel anything was really earth-shattering, or it didn't change my mind about anything. In fact, what it does is it shows me that what I'm teaching is still top tier, and everything else can't come close to it. But I think what happens is content creators, they have to come up with these things to not only keep their community captivated and also kind of like serve their level of investment participation, investing in themselves. So if you're going to have a community that's going to be rather lazy, okay, or just they want to just watch your content and be enjoying and whatever, that's not the same as someone like here where I demand that the students not be lazy. And I will tell students right to their face, that's a lazy perspective, knowing that may ruffle their feathers. They may be offended. They may go away. But I know enough and I trust enough, if they're going to be honest with themselves, whether now or later, they're going to realize it later on. And they come back, and I've had lots of students come back and say, you know what, you were right about that. And I'm thankful. I needed that. I went away from it. I came back, and now they're stronger, and they're making money, and they don't work. They don't work. They're not on social media. They got more than 7 figures in their bank account after taxes. Okay? So these things work. This mindset works. But as soon as you get these gotcha type titles, to me, you're really raising the bar to expectations that many times don't really deliver. And simply just saying, you know what, I tried doing it this way, and what I learned was I was actually better doing it with this time frame. Because you can make lots of money trading an hourly chart. You can make lots of money doing a 4-hour chart. Trading on a daily only, you're going to get very far and few between setups. You got to hold on to trades for a lot longer. Your stops have to be extremely wide. Your leverage is extremely low. But over time, you can still become a millionaire in 10 years doing that. It's all how you manage the money and how you manage yourself. The time frame is not the importance. That's not the secret, okay? I promise you that. There's no time frame that's going to yield the kingdom of riches because you now trade a higher time frame or a lower time frame. You can blow your accounts on a higher time frame chart just as easily you can do it on a lower time frame. But what you're doing is in a lower time frame is you're taking the volatility and the velocity of opportunity and speed to next setup, not speed and price. There's a lot of setups in these lower time frames that help you practice, even if you're going to be an hourly chart trader, a 4-hour chart trader, or a daily chart trader. The lower time frame is a plethora of learning experience and drills. It teaches you entry. It teaches you stop placement. It teaches you decision making. And it does a lot of it inside of one day. And it will bring you up faster. Not that I'm trying to speed your learning curve up, but for the folks that just want to have a lot more opportunity, if you're only just using the opening range as your trade idea, and that's all you do, you're stuck to just whatever you did today. Now you have to stop. Then you got to go wait to the next day. That's a lot of time. And to me, I like things efficient. I want to get as much in as I possibly can. That's why I talk a lot, because if I was a student of me, I want somebody to go on and on and on and tell me everything. Give me every detail, every nook and cranny. Tell me where I'm probably going to feel like I think I know it, but I really don't. Tell me all the trips and hazards and all the little the sticker bushes and the thorns where I think I got a rose. I'm going to go pluck it off the vine and not get stuck with a thorn. How am I going to see that incorrectly? I want to know those things going in. I don't want to hurt myself. I want to know everything that possibly may hurt me. Because then if I know those things, then I won't be so nervous doing all the things you tell me to do. I won't be so scared because I know I've been pre-warned in advance. Hey, look, this is what may happen to you if you're not careful. But that's largely cast aside as you've been lied to. You're wasting your time listening to that stuff. And I just answered a goober on X while we were listening to a previous caller. Keep trading ICT stuff so we can make serious money. You know this guy's working. So instead of trying to say you got something better, just bring something better for yourself and stop worrying about everybody else. Stop trying to upsell something, and then when you do it, it doesn't really deliver it. Focus on what works in your hands. That's what this industry needs. It needs more of this is what's working for me, and less of this stuff doesn't work. That doesn't work. And I say this because I use this mechanism to get people talking. I just mentioned VWAP. I would never touch VWAP. It's useless. Volume profile, garbage, trash. Level 2 data, not useful at all. It's what you've been told makes it useful. And because your experiences of using it is next to nothing, when someone says, this was the game changer. How is it that every time I release something new, now it's the game changer? It's because the shiny new object syndrome. That's what that really is. And what happens if you just went back to this optimal trade entry? Like that somehow doesn't work anymore? You hear people bark all the time. 2022 model, that's the GOAT. That's optimal trade entry. I just gave you more details on how to find optimal trade entry. That's all it was. I fleshed out more details. The things that people don't want to hear. The rants, the things that's going to help you. If you were paying money to go through a and I'll say this part, and I'll get back to everybody else now. And I apologize, and I thank you for the liberty to be able to say these types of things as it's needed. But let's just say you paid a lot of money to go through a JP Morgan, a Goldman Sachs program. Okay, you pay lots of money for these people that tell you intraday charts are noise and run away from these guys if they tell you they can trade it or time the market like that. And you pay for that money up front to learn things. And you go through the motions of all that stuff. Wouldn't you experience some measure of expectation? Tell me how I'm going to hurt myself. What pitfalls should I avoid? When I start making money, what am I going to start feeling? And how am I going to wreck myself doing that? What can I do to stay motivated while learning and yet still not taking a live trade where I'm seeing profitability? All those things come with people with real experience. And that's why it begs the question is, why is it everybody else that's a quote unquote mentor, they don't spend much time talking about how to avoid the problems, but they all have things to get into a trade. You've been lied to about this. This is the real way of going into a trade and finding winning trades. Everybody has their own interpretation of that, but everybody else is pretending they never lost money. Everybody else is pretending they don't have drawdown. Everybody else is pretending they didn't have hardships learning whatever the model they have, even if they are profitable. And that's a big neon sign. I'm full of grade A bullshit. Because if you can't hear somebody tell you, these are the war stories I had to go through and I put myself through it, and here's how you can avoid doing the same thing. And I have people that try to come through my stuff and be the exception to the rule, and they always come back and I wish I would have listened to you. I wish I would have done this. I wish I wouldn't have done that. And you told me these things. I'm telling you this stuff so that way it helps you become better at becoming who you're trying to be. And you avoid the things I did to myself. I wish that it was only a one-time conversation, but because there's new people coming in and they think they're the exception to the rule, you got to be reminded, you're not special. You're not. You're not going to be the person it becomes easy for. It's not going to happen for you. And that unsettles people in the beginning because I'm being honest up front. I've never said this is going to be easy for you. You have to wrestle yourself out of your own way. That's the biggest obstacle. You're the final boss. You are, and you start there. In video games, you have to work your way up to it. You're starting off the bat. Boom. You got somebody in the mirror that's telling you you don't deserve it, you're never going to get there, and you're probably going to fail. So why bother? And then you go on social media, you hear other people like me and other people that's in this community, and they say, "This is what I'm doing. I'm encouraging." They're encouraging. So what do? That little bit of inspiration goes to the arm wrestling table against that formidable person that's in the mirror that says, "You can't do this. You're never going to be successful. Why bother? When you fail, they're all going to laugh at you. If you told your friends and your family members, they're going to laugh at you. I don't want to deal with that." So you don't really apply yourself. So when people say, "Yeah, I dabbled with this, I dabbled with that, I've been doing it for this many years," what have you really been doing for those 3 years? Have you been every single day, whether taking a trade or not? Are you in there watching the tape? Are you really observing what you feel and logging that? Because that's putting a big spotlight on your problems. They're your character flaws. I don't know what your character flaws are. The people you learn from that's not me don't know your character flaws. We don't know that. We are not in your head. We don't live inside your skin. We don't know what makes you comfortable or uncomfortable. We don't know what motivates you. What makes you tick as a person? Are you patient, impatient? Are you quick in decision making? Are you slow and lethargic? You just, I'm lazy. I just don't want to. I don't want to get out of bed right away in the morning time. Are you easily distracted? Are you influenced easily? If I can tell you the market's going to do this and you've already put a trade on or about to put a trade on, and I influence that, you are not listening to me as a student. It doesn't matter what the fuck I say. It doesn't matter what I say. Because if you have a model, you follow that. You don't follow what I'm saying. How are you going to get a baseline of you trusting and following your model? Your model is going to fail sometimes, folks. It's going to fail. And by tape reading, you're going to see it in action where it doesn't hurt you. You're going to see it doesn't fail all the time. It doesn't fail the majority of the time. But when it does, you need to see what these triggers are inside of you. What are you feeling? Do you feel like you want to go out and hurt somebody because you did it? Or it didn't do like you wanted it to? Do you feel like you need to get a drink? Do you feel like you want to roll a fatty and get blazed up? Do you win and get rocked up and you want to go lay down with your wife because of that? These are all triggers. And they tell you that you're going to react that way in extremes when it's real money. And you have to identify what these triggers are because until you do, you're going to be blindsided by them, whether you're in profit or in drawdown. And that's the truth. Anybody says otherwise is bullshit and just ignore them. That's it. Thanks.
Lex, you want to jump in here? I know you're going to have a good follow through.
I think that this is a perfect segue for last week for me because I was listening, for a long time I was listening one micro, one micro, one micro, and it got me very far. And then I strayed away from that and I started building and I'm I'm not saying I didn't want to punish myself because I was trading well. So I started stepping up, and not listening. And I'm ashamed to say that, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I was trading the best I've ever traded. And last week, the week before last, the last time we talked on here, I had that big mistake and it hurt me. But I sat down and I journaled. And what is triggering me to want to push it? What is in my mind and my heart that's making me say, hey, I need to get in this crazy volatile market where it's up and down roller coaster and keep putting my will onto the market. And, I had to step back. Um, I really had to step back. I had a $64,000 trade turn on me in a matter of minutes. And to see something like that and to know your potential, I had to take a serious step back and really journal. And
Go
really
into
think
detail what you feel. What did you feel when it turned against you? At $64,000, folks, that's an annual salary now. That's the average annual salary in the U.S. So, describe what that made you feel. It's like speaking bodily feelings. What did you feel, and how you thought? Like, did you question certain things yourself? Like, what is it you were feeling going through it?
my heart was jumping out of my chest first. That went when it really started going, I was like, what is happening? To see your hard work And you're like, oh, there it is. And then to get that email that you breached your account, like you're going through the most extreme, like bipolar feelings ever, but then I had to stop myself and I like reanalyzed the trade and it's like, whoa, like you are really stepping into what you've been practicing every day, what you've been showing up for every day, all the sacrifice that you have put into this craft is it's showing you. And like I wanted to break down. I'm not gonna lie, like I wanted to break down and God sat me down and he said, you need to trust in me, but you need to slow down. And for me, that was loud and clear because I needed to do some deep internal work from my childhood and like growing up and like how I view money and how I've come into money. And it really, really made me do a full psychological breakdown of money within myself, within my spirit. What's my why? Are we going to keep going? I was at work and I'm working and I'm sitting here and I'm just like, yo, you seen your salary double in 10 minutes. And I'm sitting here working. And it humbled me. Like it humbled me to the core. Because this is the first time this happened, but it's the biggest time that has happened. But like instead of completely stepping away, I got myself about me, I reviewed my trade, and I was proud of myself for how I took that hit, for how I bounced back from that hit. I came back and I passed 3 accounts last week. And this week, we're back down to 1 micro. I'm going back to what got me there. Slow down. Stay with your market structure, stay with the model that's working, like understanding time and price and the work and the sacrifice is all there. You just need to trust the time. And you always say that, like submit to time, submit to the time. And I have, and like, but there's no rushing that in this, especially in this environment,
Amen.
and like, trading is gonna knock you out multitude of times. Are you gonna be Rocky? Are you gonna sit down and like succumb? Like, so for me, like now I'm just backtracking into like things that my father taught me about hunting and like going back into those deep lessons that, my late father had really instilled in me with making money and like with hunting and like watching psychologically things. And so I'm doubling down on that and going back down to 1 micro and adjusting there and knowing that with hard work, anything is possible. My dad showed me that.
It's hard work. It's also a skill set. Really knowing first, I mean, the skill set, knowing how it works in your hands is so important. And most folks are so impatient with themselves. Most folks are dealing with self-destruction programs, self-destructive programming that when they come to the market, it's all about fumbling the bag. People are so nervous. And I mean, I want to bring up something, Lex, that I would like to see you do, and that's I'd like you to turn off the money. I need you to disassociate with the chart a little bit.
It's the
Okay?
process. It's the
It's the
process.
process, and you're getting emotionally charged over a dollar amount, and I can tell you that's not what you want to do. I understand that's what it is, but you want to disassociate yourself with what's happening. You want to focus on the process, and the disassociation with the dollars